Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
The state of New York now allowing you to visit loved ones in nursing homes again, as long as you follow certain guidelines. This comes as Governor Andrew Cuomo is facing intense criticism and even federal investigations into his handling of COVID-19 nursing home deaths. Big Fox News' Matt Kleindienst has the latest.
Good evening. According to new guidelines released by the Cuomo administration today, nursing home visitations can resume starting on Friday. Darlene Smith of the Steuben County Health Department says the announcement is welcoming news, especially for residents who've been isolated from their family for months.
For a lot of the residents, it will literally do them a world of good.
Nursing home residents can expect to be reunited with their families under Governor Cuomo's new mandate. Darlene Smith says the changes come as cases continue to drop and facilities make progress with vaccinating their residents.
The data is showing the declination rate is fairly low in the nursing homes, as well as it is much lower community spread right now.
The state is providing all nursing homes with free rapid testing for all visitors. However, visitors won't have to be tested if the positivity rate is lower than 5% countywide. If the county positivity rate is between 5 and 10%, visitors will have to test negative 72 hours before entering a facility. Smith says she's happy to see nursing homes finally being able to welcome in families.
For a lot of families, it has been months and months since they have seen their loved one. And so I'm just very happy for them that this opportunity is being afforded to the families and to the residents in the nursing homes.
She's confident that the guidelines put in place should keep everyone safe in the weeks ahead.
Certainly, everyone still needs to be extremely cautious. And I know that, everyone within the nursing home will need to continue to wear their masks and frequent sanitizing. It's time. The residents in the nursing homes need to see their loved ones. It has been too long.
Matt Kleindienst, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
As the U.S. death toll from COVID-19 gets closer to 500,000, Dr. Anthony Fauci says we may be wearing masks into 2022, even with a degree of normality returning perhaps later this year. Steve Harrigan has more from Atlanta.
Vaccines in the U.S. now average close to 1.6 million shots per day, and new cases are on the decline. Just 55,000 reported on Sunday, compared with a daily average of more than 250,000 back in January. Public health officials say they are encouraged by the trends, but Dr. Anthony Fauci says mask wearing may have to extend into 2022.
The slope of downward trajectory, Chris, is really very good and very impressive. It's very sharp if you look at it. The one thing we don't want to do is to get complacent.
The focus now, getting 70 to 80% of the population vaccinated to achieve herd immunity in the U.S. Some doctors say that could come by the end of April because early data is showing T-cell activity, what some doctors call natural immunity, in those who have already had the virus.
It does appear that there's a 99% level of protection in that first year of observational data.
Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, the House Budget Committee is putting the finishing touches on a $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill. Democrats are pushing for direct payments of $2,000, but Senate Republicans say that is too much money.
These are people that are living hand to mouth, people that don't have paychecks coming in. And so we have to supplement. This is an emergency.
6 million doses of the vaccine were delayed by the winter storm, so vaccination rates are expected to increase this week. In Atlanta, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
Nominations for the Elmira College Key Awards are now open. Each year, the college awards $80,000 scholarships to prospective students of the school. Students are nominated by their high school guidance counselors for high academic achievement and community leadership. Dr. Jackie Van Brunt says it's a way for the school to give back to its students.
This award is a way for Elmira College to give back to students both within our local community as well as students in other areas of New York State and other states that are involved in leadership activities and involved with community service.
The scholarship money will last all 4 years for students at Elmira College. The school has awarded this to new students since 1935. Almost all Texas residents now have their power back up and running after a week of misery. But for many, the hardships continue as they face water issues, food and gas shortages, and now for some, surprise utility bills. Daryl Forges has more from Houston.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott says he hopes to have power fully restored throughout the state by sometime today. But still, millions of Texans still don't have running water, and many are cleaning up the mess left behind by Mother Nature. As Texas thaws out,
we would love showers, but we'll get that when we get our water turned back on.
Infrastructure problems remain while Houston was able to lift its boil water advisory Sunday afternoon. About 1/3 of the state was still under a boil water notice as of last night.
I think I might be sore by next week from just carrying jugs of water.
And many others are dealing with the damage left by broken water pipes and flooding.
I know there's a 2 to 3 week wait for plumbers right now in the city, and also the supplies are very low.
Another issue facing some Texas residents, skyrocketing energy bills due to the increased market demand.
The last thing that I'm thinking about while I'm trying to get, gas and groceries and make sure that my pipes don't explode, the last thing that I'm thinking about is a $7,000 bill from my utility company.
In response, the Texas Public Utilities Commission has temporarily banned power companies from billing customers or disconnecting them for not paying. Some state and local leaders think the state should absorb the cost of the sky-high bills.
As far as I'm concerned, that bill should be sent to ERCOT, and there will be hell to pay if there is any notion that the residents of this state should pay for this disaster.
And some lawmakers are calling for an investigation into possible price gouging of natural gas in the state of Texas and other areas affected by the winter storm. In Houston, Texas, I'm Daryl Forges.
Tonight, we're highlighting an abolitionist who made refuge in the Southern Tier and worked tirelessly to save people from the system he was born into. Matt Kleindienst joins us from Elmira with the life story of John W. Jones.
In the decades leading up to the Civil War, countless men and women fought valiantly to end the institution of slavery. Some people, however, may be less aware of local abolitionist John W. Jones, who dedicated 9 years of his life to saving people from bondage and eventually turning Elmira into a major station of the Underground Railroad. Tucked away along Davis Street sits the original farmhouse of John W. Jones, a modest house that used to sit upon 16 acres of land and has since been converted into a museum dedicated to telling his remarkable story. Jones was born into slavery in 1817 on a plantation in Leesburg, Virginia. At the age of 27, Jones and his two half-brothers escaped, taking the Underground Railroad from Virginia to New York.
They walked almost 300 miles. The last 8 miles, they actually got a ride in someone's wagon to Elmira. John Jones was 27 years old. He had $1.46 in his pocket and immediately began to seek work.
Jones managed to get a season's worth of education and served an active role as a sexton for his local church, and among the backdrop of the Fugitive Slave Act, served as an agent for the Underground Railroad. Talmia Aaron says Jones committed his life to the cause, knowing the potential consequences.
So it was a very dangerous time. The penalties were high, and the penalties were also high for those who assisted those who were perceived escaping from slavery. His standing declaration was that he would never be taken alive, and his acquaintances knew what such a statement meant.
Between 1851 and 1860, John Jones helped over 860 men, women, and children escape slavery, none of whom were ever captured. Most of them made their way across the border into Canada. When the Civil War broke out, Jones worked at the Woodland Cemetery, where he gave dignified burials to Confederate soldiers from the nearby Elmira prison camp.
He saw the humanity in these young men that were fighting this war to essentially keep people like him enslaved. But he saw them as just young men far away from home, dying away from family.
Jones buried 2,963 prisoners and kept meticulous records of each soldier and their possessions. The families of Confederate soldiers were so moved by Jones's care for them, only 3 bodies were removed from the cemetery. His precise record-keeping also allowed Woodland to be declared a national cemetery by the federal government.
So this one season of learning allowed him to be able to keep the kind of documentation that impacts history to this day.
By the time Jones died in 1900, he was the wealthiest black man in the western part of New York and left an invaluable mark in the city of Elmira.
He wanted equality for everyone. And he wasn't afraid to speak up about it, and that he wasn't afraid to act on those things.
This celebration of Black History Month is brought to you by Corning Community College. Matt Kleinden's Big Fox, WYDC in Elmira. Celebrating Black History Month is brought to you by Corning Community College.
Still ahead tonight, amid a deadly freeze that knocked out power and water in Texas, many Good Samaritans are helping their community weather the storm. More on the many stories of the goodness and hospitality brightening up Texans enduring hardships at this time.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kim Walker with your weather update. Winds have been coming from the south today at around 5 to 10 miles per hour, and it did keep those temperatures mainly in the 30s. As we head into tonight, it's not going to be as cold as it was this morning. Temperatures around 30 degrees at 5 o'clock, so we're going to be below freezing, and then right at that freezing mark, mostly cloudy conditions at around 6 and 7 o'clock, and then at around 8, it looks like a few snow showers will be moving in, and so we're going to have to scrape some of that snow as we head into the latter part of your Tuesday. This is what's going on. We have a low pressure system that is moving in from Minnesota, and it will dive right over our region, and so that will result in a little bit of snow activity as we head through the day on Tuesday. So let's take a look at our future radar. We are expecting relatively quiet weather tonight, but then around 7 or 8 o'clock, it looks like a few snow showers from Hornell all the way to Elmira, and we're going to see a little bit more snow as we head into the early afternoon, but it looks like it starts to break apart a little bit from Hornell to Corning, but Elmira, we're going to see a few more snow showers that will spread into Schuyler County and also in just to our north in Ithaca. We are expecting most of this activity to taper off at around 6 o'clock in the evening on Tuesday, and then just a few flurries here and there on Wednesday. Clouds will stick around though through the day, but notice at noon and through about early afternoon, there will be a few showers that will develop and move into our area. Temperatures will be warm enough where we're going to see rain instead of snow for the middle of the week. So we have several rounds of snow and rain coming our way. But overall, we are expecting cool conditions to remain at least for a couple of days before it really warms up. And then we're going to have another cool down for the end of the week. And over the weekend, we have another system that will come in and it's going to spread some snow toward the region. Tonight, temperatures around 30 degrees in Elmira, but above freezing in Corning at 33. We are expecting cloudy conditions tonight, increasing snow chances early tomorrow morning. But as those temperatures warm up into the 40s, if the moisture is left over, we are expecting this to switch over to rain because it will be warm enough where all that snow will be melting. It gets even warmer on Wednesday with a high around 48 degrees. There could be a few flurries early on Wednesday, switching over to showers in the afternoon. And then once that cold front comes through, those temperatures will be dropping. So it will be cooler on Thursday with a high around 35 degrees. Another round of snow for the weekend.
Texans are known the world over for their maverick spirit. They take self-reliance seriously. So when the state was hit by that ferocious winter storm last week, it's no wonder many Texans turned to one another to get through the crisis. Michael Holmes reports.
Whatever affects Texas affects us.
A commitment to the community that's no sales gimmick. During the recent winter storm, a Houston furniture store owner known as Mattress Mac turned his showroom into a shelter for residents needing a place to warm up and have a hot meal. It's an act of kindness that some will never forget.
The coronavirus, and I lost my job, my mortgage, and then those pictures looking at my house, it's terrible. and I have to clean it up.
Stories like this of goodness and hospitality have helped melt the ice by brightening the days of Texans enduring hardship caused by the cold temperatures. Like when delivery driver Chelsea Timmons slid down the icy driveway of the people she was delivering to and couldn't get back out. The homeowners got their groceries and invited Chelsea to wait inside, which turned into a 5-day stay until the weather cleared and a new friendship. Then there's the local distillery that decided to open its taps of water and give away free filtered water to anyone with a jug until boil orders are lifted. Or the grocery store that lost power and with no way of checking people out, let them leave with their supplies without paying.
Started putting our groceries on the belt, and the woman checking us out said, "No, don't bother. We won't have time to bag anything." And I thought, oh, that's kind of weird. How are you going to ring it up? She kind of said with her arm, "Go ahead, you can proceed out the store."
These feel-good moments stretch beyond humankind. Volunteers rescued thousands of sea turtles off San Padre Island who were stunned by the cold and are keeping them in warm pools until they can be released. A shelter that may not be as cozy as Mattress Mac's showroom, but another example of Texas Strong.
A Texas man jumps into action after his dog falls into a frozen swimming pool. Brooke Katz has his warning to other pet owners during this wintry weather.
To curious canines like Zoya,
she's a naughty one, and then she definitely has a mind of her own.
An iced-over pool may seem like a great spot to sniff.
She loves water. She loves playing in the snow.
But as you see here, the danger is real.
What if we weren't around, or what if, nobody had heard her, or, if you hadn't come out?
Thankfully, Rajat Sharma was nearby, his family staying with neighbors because of a busted pipe in their home. The neighbor's dog barking alerted them to what was going on. Security camera footage captured the entire incident, including the rescue.
What I knew was that I got to go in and get her, right? So I was trying to tread lightly, but in the back of my mind, I knew that if it couldn't take her weight, it definitely won't take mine.
Scenes like this are common across the DFW area right now. Pools and ponds frozen over with a layer of ice. It's a reminder to keep an eye on your furry friends.
I think even more so now because, you feel the sun is out and, you can go out and play outside now a lot more. And but you got to remember that ice is still out there and it's probably starting to melt and, it's dangerous.
Looking back, Rajat can smile.
Oh, yeah. And then definitely, a good icebreaker for our next get-together.
But he says there's a lesson to be learned.
Your pups are just like your kids. You got to keep an eye on them. If they're going to be outside anywhere, just make sure there's somebody around to get to them if trouble comes knocking.
A Tennessee family is having a lot of fun with their pet chicken. That's because it likes snow sledding just as much as the kids. Forrest Sanders reports.
I bet a lot of us grew up with a little pet who just loved playing in that light, fluffy snow. And in a very snowy Dixon Springs. 5-year-old Blair and 11-year-old Owen have exactly that kind of pet now, here at the Evans family farm. Though she's maybe not quite what you're expecting.
This is Donut.
Now, why is Donut the Evans' favorite chicken?
She's the only one that will sled with us.
You heard him right. The chicken sleds.
She'll sit down on the sled and we can call her.
And then, Donut's ready to be pulled up the hill and go again.
She seems to go with the flow, don't she?
That's farm life for you, I guess.
Not every chicken would do this.
I don't think they'll ride down like Donut does.
But then, Donut was never the type of chicken to get cold feet for a little adventure. Back in the summer, there's little Donut with Blair and her own floaty in the pool. Somehow, the stress of the week just melts away. All thanks to a chicken on a sled.
We're about to let Donut sled down by himself. I think she may saying that she's having fun.
This could be your dream job, actually getting paid for sleeping at a 5-star luxury resort. A website called sleepstandards.com is looking for a candidate willing to spend 5 nights sleeping in different environments. The candidate will be required to write a report on each night's sleep experience, the luxury resort being one of them. The company, which researches sleep quality products, is planning to pay the chosen candidate $2,000, all expenses paid. Interested candidates are asked to provide a headshot and submit a 60-second video about why they would be a good choice. Applicants must also provide links to all their social media pages. The deadline for entries is March 31st. Well, we all know people who love Mac products because they don't get viruses, but that's not quite true. Security officials are worried about malicious software that has infected nearly 30,000 Mac computers across the globe. The malware is called Silver Sparrow. As for what it does, no one knows yet. Researchers say it contains a self-destruct mechanism, meaning it can delete any trace of itself. That appears not to have been used yet. Silver Sparrow has been discovered in 153 countries. A 70-day, 3,000-mile journey turns a young woman into a seafaring world record setter. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
After 3,000 hard-fought, hand-rowed miles, this 21-year-old woman became the youngest ever to row solo across the Atlantic Ocean. Jasmine Harrison of Britain completed the 2020 Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge, rowing from Spain to Antigua in 70 days, 3 hours, and 48 minutes, which sets a new world record for the youngest female to row solo across any ocean. Harrison wrote on Twitter that along her odyssey, she experienced a near collision with a drilling ship, 2 capsizes, and visits from dolphins. She also said there was lots of peanut butter and Nutella consumed. Harrison said she hopes her solo seafaring saga will bring inspiration to young people that it is okay to go at things alone. Speaking of historic journeys, it's not every day you see a 139-year-old house up and move 7 blocks. But that's exactly what happened in San Francisco. Spectators cheered as this 2-story historic Victorian was rolled to a new location. It's the first move of its kind in nearly 50 years, according to the San Francisco Historical Society. The fees and permissions involved in this undertaking alone reportedly cost the owner about $200,000. Squeezing the landmark building down the narrow roads took some prep work. Crews had to trim trees, move power lines, and take down a few road signs. There was definitely a festive vibe in the air as hundreds turned out to witness the incredible journey. Eyewitnesses said it was almost like watching a very slow Mardi Gras parade. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
You think there's life in outer space? There's certainly none in this theater. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Muppet Show.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. Disney Plus is making a rainbow connection. All 5 seasons of Jim Henson's The Muppet Show are now on the streaming service. Disney Plus says this is the first time the 4th and 5th seasons will be released on home entertainment. Fans of Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, and Fozzie Bear can also watch The Muppet Movie and The Muppet Christmas Carol on Disney Plus. From our whole team, thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great night.